Hi everyone, my name is Prox and I've logged 469 hours of Schedule 1 across multiple playthroughs. Tyler, the developer, recently launched the game's third community vote to determine the next major update. The polls have officially closed and the results are in. This time around, the three options were police improvements, hireable drivers, and special customers. All of these were strong choices, plus it seems each may have a different impact across the various stages of the game. I don't know about you, but I had a very hard time deciding which update to vote for. In the first two community votes, I went for cartel and hireable drivers. Now you may think, since I voted for drivers in the last poll, surely I'll just do the same this time since it's an option again. However, the police update being back on the table, plus the fresh special customers option, both changed the dynamics of this poll compared to the last one, in my opinion. More on that later, including what I did ultimately end up voting for. Today we're breaking down all three options and the final result. Just in case your choice didn't win, rest assured that all three have been confirmed to be added eventually via the developer's roadmap. This vote was just about which will be added first. Now before we get into each option, I want to frame how I'm thinking about this. Depending on whether you're just getting started in Highland Point or you're running a full multi-property operation chasing that $10 million net worth achievement, these updates are going to land very differently. So as we go through each one, I'll be breaking down not just what the update is, but how it affects the early, mid, and late game differently. First up, we have police improvements. And unlike the other two options, this one is unique because it's the only update that affects you from day one, regardless of where you are in your progression. Right now, the police presence in Highland Point is pretty weak, to say the least. But this update would introduce a full escalation system. Think Grand Theft Auto's wanted level, but built specifically around your operation. Early on, it'll just be the local cops keeping an eye on things, but as your operation grows, so will the heat. We're talking DEA agents, helicopters, delivery seizures, dealer busts, raids on your properties, and even a bribe system. In my opinion, the police would add the most actual gameplay potential for mid and late game players. The friction and danger element the game currently lacks would finally be there. The law enforcement aspect would need to be kept in mind and weighed into every strategy and decision. But here's the question I think is worth raising. How would this affect brand new players? Higher consequences from the start could make an already steep learning curve genuinely brutal. While veterans have been asking for more heat for a while, the last thing we want is new players feeling discouraged from progressing in the game. For me personally, my first time through the game was a bit stressful, though obviously in a good, even addicting kind of way. Before you have employees doing most of the work for you, there's more than enough to worry about already. Hopefully Tyler implements some kind of scaling or difficulty option here so players can play how they wish. Next up, we have hireable drivers. And honestly, if you've reached mid to late game in Schedule 1, you already know that the manual delivery grind is real. Running product between your properties, your businesses, and your dealers yourself gets old fast once your operation reaches a certain size. In fact, it was this grind that I personally grew bored of before I took my first, admittedly short, break from the game. This update will hand that entire logistics chain off to employees, freeing you up to focus on actually running and scaling your empire. We will also get a new property, the North Town Warehouse, with this update. This is where we'll schedule our deliveries and organize our logistics. This is huge since it will make it much easier to plug deliveries into our existing operations. Hopefully we won't have to redo all our builds from scratch, and besides, we can never have too many properties, right? For early game players, this one is irrelevant. Your operation simply isn't big enough yet to feel the pain. But the moment you start juggling multiple properties and a growing dealer network, this becomes one of the most impactful quality of life upgrades the game could receive. It isn't all smooth sailing though, as apparently the cops can intercept our deliveries and even impound our vehicles. Each type of vehicle even has a stealth rating that determines how likely it is to draw police attention, so there's some real risk versus reward going on here. Also worth noting, there are 2 map expansions on the horizon that could affect almost everything in the game. Last but certainly not least, we have special customers. And this one is mostly about the end game. You may be able to dabble in it once you have a few properties in the mid game, but it's clearly intended for veterans who have built out a full operation and are starting to feel that late game repetition set in. For them, this could be the most exciting update of the 3. Special customer groups, think biker gangs, wandering hippies, traveling businessmen, would occasionally pass through Highland Point looking to buy product in bulk. These are large orders that would clear out a big chunk of your supply at once. Each group will likely have their own preferences. Hippies probably leaning towards weed and shrooms, bikers toward meth, and businessmen toward cocaine. This could solve one of the biggest weaknesses in Schedule 1's late game right now, the temptation to just find one product that works and repeat the same process over and over. Special customers would force us to diversify. Ideally, we'll want healthy stockpiles of multiple products ready to go at all times because we never know when a special customer is heading our way. This also has some interesting implications for the $10 million net worth achievement, as bulk orders could significantly accelerate the grind for players chasing that achievement. So that's all 3 updates in a nutshell. Now let's talk about the results. I am so glad that special customers won, and I personally voted for this as well. This update alone is going to do so much for the currently lacking endgame in Schedule 1. Right now, let's face it, there isn't much incentive to produce multiple products once you make it to a certain point in the game, besides of course for fun or personal preference. These special customers give us that reason, a nice mix-up of the routine, and the additional source of income is welcome too. On top of that, most of us that are running efficient farms have plenty of extra product laying around anyway, so the more customers the better in my opinion. I'm also extra excited because the special customers update lines up nicely with an idea I had before this vote was even announced, and it could easily be expanded upon in the future to include something similar. For example, you become a reliable source for a biker gang that rolls into town every so often. After you sell to them a few times and raise your reputation with them enough, perhaps they introduce you to the dealer in their hometown. Maybe you start off as a backup supplier for this dealer, but over time, as you grow the relationship, you become their primary source. The possibilities are endless for this kind of stuff, and all of it would have potential to tie into a more established endgame when that time comes. I mentioned the developer's roadmap earlier, and as you can see here, the special customers update is under the in progress column, while the drivers and police updates are in the future section. I'll leave a link to the roadmap in the description below. Last but not least, I want to give a quick shout out to Big Willy on YouTube. Most of you watching this video probably already know he put out a great video digging deep into the specific content planned for each of these updates, piecing together everything Tyler has said across Q&As and live streams. I'll link his channel below in the description. Definitely worth a watch if you want that deeper breakdown. So, in the end, what did you vote for? Are you happy with the result? This is my first YouTube video and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in Highland Point.